Good day, everybody. Today we're going to correct the exercises of folder 6 that you prepared. As you noticed, the topic of folder 6, which is called body talks, by the way, is health, being healthy, leading a healthy lifestyle. In exercise 1.1, you needed to have a look at the picture, and you saw a number of goals. For example, eat local and organic, go meatless, which means don't eat meat on Mondays, for example. Get outside, ride the bus, ride your bike. Green the air in your home means clean the air, for example, with plants and things like that. You had to write down 5 going to statements that express your plans and intentions about your health. If you needed to set some goals to improve your health, what would they be? Things you could have written down, for example, I'm going to eat more fruit and vegetables, I'm going to work out more often. This is personal. You could have written down a number of items, but what is important here is that you use going to. Why going to? Because you are talking about future intentions. An intention in Dutch is translated as bedoeling. It is your intention to do something in the future. You haven't really made any specific plans yet, but it is your intention to do that, and in that case, you need to use going to. Okay, so have a look and check your answers to that question. In the next exercise, you needed to answer a number of questions. For example, how often you drink water, how often you have sodas, how often you get tipsy or drunk. Tipsy means what we know in Dutch as slightly drunk. So a number of questions that you needed to answer. And what is important here is that you used a frequency adverb in the box. Frequency adverbs like never, hardly ever means amper, zelden. Seldom means the same, rarely, zelden. Sometimes, af en toe, occasionally also means af en toe. Normally, normaal gezien, usually, eerder vaak, regularly, also eerder vaak. Often, frequently, also means vaak, and always means altijd. So you needed to use those frequency adverbs to answer the questions. Sentences you could have formed are sentences which you see over here, like I often drink water. I hardly ever have soft drinks. I never get tipsy. I sometimes eat fast food. I have never smoked. And what you noticed with these frequency adverbs is that they are positioned in front of the full verb. Okay. In the first sentence, I often drink water. Drink is the full verb, and often is positioned in front of that verb. I hardly ever have soft drinks. Hardly ever is positioned in front of have. When you have an auxiliary verb, like in the last sentence, I have never smoked, never, the frequency adverb, also comes in front of the full verb. So not in front of the auxiliary verb, but in front of the full verb, the main verb. I have another picture here. I'm going to show it to you at least. Let's see. Doesn't seem to be working. Let's have a look. I can't show it to you. Okay, here it is. I have another picture for you guys showing adverbs of frequency which are frequently used in English. And they tell us how often something takes place. And at the top of the grid, you find always. For example, I always wake up at 6 o'clock. And at the bottom, you find never. I never listen to rock music. And you have a number of frequency adverbs in between. Usually, normally or generally, often, frequently, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, rarely, never. Okay, so that's basically their meaning, starting at the top with always altijd and ending at the bottom with never, nooit. Okay. So if I can close this again. Okay, then there is one thing that you should keep in mind. these time indications which you have here in the language grid. Once, twice, 3 times, daily, a day, and every day. See if I can shift this a little bit. Have a look at these. I drink a liter of water a day, every day or daily. I have been there once, twice, or 3 times. These type of words also tell you how often something happens, but they always come at the end of the sentence, not in front of the full verb. Okay? So that is something to keep in mind. Okay, for the next part, you needed to watch a video called Exercise and the Brain and answer a few questions regarding that video. The first one, you needed to write captions under the photos, choose words from the box. The woman in the first picture leads what is called a sedentary lifestyle. Sedentary lifestyle, as you can already see in the picture, means that she has little exercise and little physical activity. That's the definition of sedentary. The people in the second picture are performing something called jumping jacks. Endurance in the third picture means Uithoudingsvermogen. And in the last picture, we see somebody wearing a wristband on polsband. In exercise 2.3, here you see the solutions as well. A sheen of sweat on their forehead. A sheen of sweat means something like, in Dutch, een laagje, een dun laagje, een film. Crank up the music means luider zetten. Set aside 30 minutes. Eventjes laten rusten 30 minuten. Eventjes niet aankomen. Workout gear, gear or equipment. And your mood has changed means hoe dat je voelt. That has changed. Okay, and then in exercise 2.4, you needed to name the workout activities. Have a look here. If you need to pause the video, if I'm going too fast, you can just do that whenever you want, of course. Let's now turn to the next page. Okay, have a look at the solution of exercise 2.5. What physical benefits will you reap after working out? Once again, if you have any questions about the solutions, you can always ask them. Send me a message, ask them on the forum or on the Smart School Live session. The next exercise was a reading comprehension exercise. Let's have a look at the solution of that. Okay, let's have a look at the solution. Once again, if I'm going too fast, simply pause the video, rewind, watch it as many times as you want. What kind of text is this? This is an argumentative text because the author of the text is not just providing information, but he's also giving his own opinion about the topic. In this case, kids and ADHD and how to treat that. Does it surprise you that this man wrote the text? The man himself or the author of the text is a top athlete. He knows about the health benefits of physical exercise. So maybe no, it doesn't surprise us. What is the topic of the text? The influence of screen viewing on a child's brain, that is only part of the topic. The main topic or the main message of the text seems to be that there is a very positive influence of physical activity on cognitive social skills of kids and especially on ADHD. That is mainly what the author is trying to prove. So the text starts by telling us something about screen viewing and that is on the increase, that a lot of kids watch screens all the time. That does have a specific influence on their brain, but the main message of the text seems to be that physical activity has a very positive influence on kids' behavior and especially on ADHD. What is the key message of the text? So once again, screen exposure can damage a child's cognitive development, but also what I've just told you, physical activity has a very positive influence on kids' behavior and on ADHD. In exercise 3.2, you then needed to form a summary of the text based on what you find in the grey box and then sort of summarizing each paragraph. let me just show you the solution and see if you can match that to what you wrote. Okay. When you make a summary of a text, there is never one specific solution which you need to follow literally. There are more possibilities depending on how you interpret the text. This is the solution which you find here in the book, is a logical solution. And if you have something else and you're not sure why your solution is wrong, or you're not even sure if your solution is wrong, just ask me a question if you really want to know. But let's have a look at it first and see, or compare it to what you have. Okay, the text starts off with the first problem, namely, which is described in the first paragraph, children crave television. Crave means hunkeren naar. Then we get a specification of that problem. Specification means you get more explanation about, in this case, the first problem. That happens in the second paragraph, and that is children between the ages of 8 and 18 watch 3 hours a day. That is sort of the summary of the second paragraph. In the third paragraph, then, you get a new problem, namely there is a dramatic rise in ADHD diagnosis. There is a spelling mistake here in the solution. Diagnosis in the plural is spelled with an E, not with an I. In the third paragraph, you also get, that has to be the fourth paragraph here. You get another problem, a third problem, namely ADHD drugs have a dramatic impact on long-term neurobiology of kids. In other words, ADHD drugs have negative impacts on kids' brains. And then in the fifth paragraph, they offer a solution, or the author of the text offers a solution, namely physical activity is a potential antidote to ADHD. An antidote means literally een antigif, iets waar je er tegen kan inzetten. He then gives an illustration. In paragraph 6, he gives a first illustration about a Hollywood star named Judy Garland. She was given regular doses of uppers and downers, which are pills. Uppers are pills which make you feel happy. Downers are pills which help you settle down, pills which help you calm down. And that led to a lifelong struggle with drugs for her. A second illustration, another author, Louisa May Alcott, she's called, her mother was anxious to give her a strong body to support a lively brain. In other words, her mother helped her or encouraged her to go outside and do all sorts of physical activity. In paragraph 8, we get some advice then. Parents should allow their children to play in the real world, to experience what goes on in the real world, to go outside, not just experience the world from behind TV screens. And then in paragraphs 8 and 9, he also gives a scientific underpinning for that, means a scientific explanation, namely physical activity bulks up the cerebellum, that is part of the brain, which improves cognitive and social skills, which will then benefit kids with ADHD. Cognitive refers to our brain. Everything that goes on in our brain is called cognitive. So that is kind of what you should have in the last part. Okay. So I know this part, and especially this summary, exercise 3.2, is a bit more difficult than the other exercises. But once again, if you do not understand what we have here, if you do not understand why your text may not fit this summary, you can always ask me later on, or through the forum, through message, or just through Smart School Live. Okay. Good. I'm going to end the video here because I can only record it for 15 minutes, and then I will start a second video to correct the next.